Your ceiling is my pelvic floor. How do you come up with some creative, how are you so creative? I'm creative because I'm DJing ideas from books I read, currently rereading Becoming Supernatural. When pelvic floor is not used for excretion or sex, you can use it to build a torus field that is your brain. Your pelvic floor, that's chakra 7, your brain. It's chakra 1. Torus field, it's where I wasn't joking when I made the joke, because it's 100.0% true, which is you see me pull things from out of my butthole. And this is not some deviant third date thing because she's into that shit. This is the torus field where your spinal fluid is an extension of your brain. Torus, T-O-R-U-S. Your brain has a brain stem. It connects to chapter 7 of Becoming Supernatural and chapter 5. Because what you're doing with saying, oh my God, Larry, you're the most healthy person I've ever met, is you're not understanding that your ceiling is my pelvic floor. That's funny on 11 levels of funny. Let's reverse engineer what I'm talking about. This video should be the most valuable video that you've ever watched. Bullet point 1. If you think that the torus field, T-O-R-U-S, no pen to paper, that's okay, because your ceiling is my pelvic floor. The torus field is created where people say, oh my God, you're so good looking. They're talking about riz, they're talking about charisma, they're talking about an energy that disseminates everywhere. That's not exactly true. That's not exactly true because your penis has not been used. My brain rests on my pelvic floor. That's not true because your penis is not used. You're not using it. That's bullet point number 7, coincidentally. We're reverse booking the fact that your ceiling is my pelvic floor. This is a joke. Number 2, oh my God. My base camp is higher than your highest elevation. That's why it seems weird that I visit the proletariat. That's why it seems weird that I visit the bourgeoisie. This is why it seems weird that I visit sea level from my ivory tower. This is not my first ivory tower descent into what you think is schizophrenic madness. It's actually just me swimming in the water below sea level. Guys like me have been dying scubaing because PV equals nRT, oxygen solubility in blood. That's called the bends. Feels like all this information is just percolating. You see, when I visit below sea level, it's of benefit to you. This is why it's the pelvic floor is your ceiling. Because your pelvic floor, it's not even a great pelvic floor. It's not a great pelvic floor. What does the pelvic floor exercises do? It helps you with continence. It helps you with using the pelvic floor as my seated meditation as I lift spinal fluid up from my anus into my brain. I'm connecting brain 4 to brain 1. Now I know that's hilarious because I am hilarious, but even though that was 110% funny, does not make it 100.0% true. Maybe my style makes you want to rub your bean. Maybe my delivery methodology makes your vagina wet. That would be okay because we're talking about your pelvic floor. Let's take some of that vaginal mucus. You know you're all heated up. You know your pussy's all wet. So what we're going to do with wet pussy is we're going to rechannel it into healing. Oh my God. Is this the Taurus field? Is this chapter 11? We're not doing a quantum orgasm because we're not going to wait till the last paragraph of the last book, chapter 20, Your Body Keeps the Score, in order to have your ceiling no longer be my pelvic floor. Page 237. Page 237. What we're doing by citing specific page numbers, for example, page 237, is we're running a repetition on Two Girls, One Cup of Knowledge, Joe Dispenza. One Cup of Knowledge from Joe Dispenza. Your ceiling is my pelvic floor. When the ceiling is a floor, that's okay. Base camp. Your base camp being underwater causes you to have high beta. Beta with beta males is not actually below alpha males. It's beta males because your brain gets stuck in beta. I didn't know this. Now you do, because your ceiling is my pelvic floor. Base camp. If you're honest about where your base camp is, you'd be honest about where your base camp is, because your ceiling is literally my penis. And that's funny on 9 more levels. Let's explore base camp. Your ceiling is my pelvic floor. You see, with a base camp, what you're doing by having a base camp above sea level is you're a mammal that breathes oxygen when your base camp is $15,000 below zero. You have no ability to go from zero to $600,000 because you're stuck with being a reptile or an amphibian or at best a platypus. You're a land living creature that's got to manage your pelvic floor. So what you're understanding with betas being Japanese fighting fish is that's what betas do, because the beta waves of your head help you realize that your ceiling is my pelvic floor. Beta, alpha, theta, delta brainwaves. When you're constantly looking for just barely enough money to order food, you get to be fat because you have food. You don't have food insecurity because you have a lot of food. But you think you have food insecurity, you have money insecurity. When you're constantly in money insecurity, the beta brainwaves break your brain. This is where pedophilia also applies. The person who violated you broke your brain. This is where childhood trauma comes in. Your body keeps the score. This is why your ceiling is below my feet temporarily. This is why my videos have a different feel to them, because I can take a nothing. This is literally a nothing. It costs 42 cents. This is a notebook. They don't even cost 40 cents. I think they cost 32 cents. You saw me pull random, hot, blonde with big boobs. You saw it. You saw it and you still can't process the fact that your ceiling is my pelvic floor. When people talk, I write stuff down. That's a springboard. You see, your pelvic floor is not your floor. Your pelvic floor is in chakra 7. That's the Taurus field. That's why you think I'm so good looking, because my free DNA, even my junk DNA, it assembles into mewing. I can't help it. I came to the conclusion before I read it. And then when I read it, I'm like, I knew that Albert Einstein's E=mc², where energy and matter are tied. That's actually incomplete. This is why before, when I said I was a top 50 physicist, I wasn't joking, because I hate the fact that that's true. The reason I hate the fact that that's true is I'll sound even more ridiculous by saying your ceiling is my pelvic floor, because it sounds like I'm trying to get women older than 29 to want to fellatio. That's not my goal. That actually makes me turtle, because I don't like when older women force fellatio. This is why I don't like morning BJ. This is why I don't like wake you up. Oh, you're gonna fall asleep. I'm gonna wake you up with a blowy. You see, your ceiling is my pelvic floor. Your dream fantasy is my nightmare with 2 girls kissing on it. And I'm either roofied asleep or exhausted asleep or asleep because I'm drug-free and asleep. So when you say the beta male thing, page 127, page 132, thank you, I will pin you, which is, how can you talk so long and say absolutely nothing? Everything that I said was a soundbite, sound clippable moment. And that might intimidate you, but realize page 127, page 132. Oh, burn, burn. I was correct, because I connected page 127 and page 132. What are on those pages? It's a beta male brain with beta waves, which is, how can you talk so long and say absolutely nothing? What you're saying is a decompression no algorithm, whereas everything I'm saying is a compressed algorithm that's meant to be a logic bomb, because I speak in a way that you will latch on to something. Why? Because your ceiling in life is my pelvic floor. That is not a complicated and genius way to say, suck me, but it is a genius way to get you to look at chapter 7, page 152, diagrams 7A and 7D, because your brain, somebody busted a portion of your body. Remember, your body keeps the score. This is chapter 21, which is, I know that you don't keep a journal because you just want to have your body keep the score. This is why potentially you've been incontinent, which is you piss yourself. The reason you piss yourself is because your brain's broken, and I don't want to know this. I don't want to know this. But you said something mean, and I love you, so I'm going to tell you page 137, page 127, page 132. This is what happens when you're dyslexic and you're reading your own handwriting. Page 152, your beta male, beta brainwaves are causing you to look for drug solutions. I'm going to guess that you self-medicate yourself. This is why your ceiling is my pelvic floor. Bullet point number 9. But maybe you think I'm talking circles around you. It's because the teacher has appeared, but the student is below sea level. Have you ever had a really hot girl say stuff to you and your head was underwater? Well, that's what's going on right now. I'm the hot girl that helps you realize that your ceiling is my pelvic floor. Because you're watching because you're pseudo gay, which is, oh my God, diagram 11.11 on page 243. Ceiling is your floor. Maybe you don't think that a $9,000 workshop is worth the money. Because I'm not selling you that workshop. What I'm selling you is, can you pretend you paid $35 for this video? You thought I was going to say $3,500. I realize I'm talking to multimillionaires that want to pay me $0. I realize this. That's why you will be paying me, if you are multimillionaires, 800 grand. But if you're poor, I'm not classist, okay? I'm just aware that the universe has energy. I'm not a classist. I'm just aware that the universe has stored up energy called nutritional energy. You may or may not eat food. I need that chemical potential energy. This is probably the most high quality word map ever to hit the algorithm. You're welcome, because if you wrote these things down, you could sell them for $300, because these words have never been assembled in quite the same way. You're welcome. Let's say that was over your head because you don't trust anything that I'm saying. That's a good thing, because you also won't trust this, which is why you're a reptile underwater, pretending to be a reptile, living underwater. You're a human, you breathe oxygen. This is so digestible. This is the entire video value encapsulated. When you argue against this, you will be seen as a person violating space and time itself. I'm talking to your version of you that's a better version in the future. Ready? You should get one free vacation using AI, which is thanks to our friends at Allo. I look super hot right now and I look super cute. Because that's going to happen on May 26. Everyone else is going to have to pay $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. You get a free vacation. Why? Because of this video that dropped on day number 46 of the hashtag 55 days of Gemini 3 at SF Super Bowl, which is May 27 to May 30th. You're welcome for this QR code. You're welcome. Because what you're asking is your first empowering question. You're not just telling me some woeful thing, which is, oh, I'm homeless, I live under the bridge. Oh, tell the truth, you're selling shoes. No, I'm telling you the truth. I get shoes. I have friends that like shoes, and Derek Jeter, Mike Jordan was my accidental foray into helping sell $1 billion worth of shoes. Your ceiling is my pelvic floor. Your ceiling is my pelvic floor. Your ceiling, my pelvic floor. Think of this as, I don't even like boba tea. I don't even like Birkenstock. I'm just really surprised that Birkenstock has a cool new line. Who's good at being thankful for our friends over at Birkenstock? Who's thankful for that? I'm super thankful. Continuing on with the bullet points, your ceiling is my pelvic floor. You see, pelvic floor is used for two things. Evacuation, that's a number 1 or a number 2 evacuation, and sexual operations. That would be operations that involve your vagina, your Kegel muscle, or your penis. That's pelvic floor. You see, you don't see. You've been incontinent way prematurely, where sometimes you have accidents. That's because your pelvic floor sucks. You have inflammation. When you pee, it's the weakest trickle ever. This is because your ceiling is my pelvic floor. You can solve this problem. You can solve these problems by looking at strengthening the muscles around your pelvic floor. This is what's genius about this video. This is why this video is worth $9 to $30 million. Don't be a classist. Don't be a classist, which is racism against rich people. You're classisming against rich people. Because rich people have problems. Have you ever known a poor person to be able to buy a liver because you've been smoking too much pot? Pelvic floor. There's a vagus nerve. It's theoretical because I laugh because it's the Frankenstein movie. I laugh because it's everywhere, all over your body. This is why women, true story, have an orgasm just by looking at not porn, but to them is porn. The vagus nerve, Joe Dispenza, the torus, T-O-R-U-S, it's controlled by your pelvic floor. This is what happens during meditation, where you're aware of chakra 6, chakra 7. I wish this didn't come out sounding like a joke, but I have to make it funny because this is the most technical content in the history of YouTube. Because Albert Einstein, as a physicist, he didn't understand this. You can understand this, and this you should have paid $35.50 for. I realized before I said $35, but I'm gonna add 50 cents because you literally don't have a dollar. You're worth negative dollars. So I'm gonna add 50 cents to it. You know how when you see 50 cents, that's how a billionaire sees a super yacht. It's 50 cents. Ditto, would you sleep with that person for $1? Ditto, what if she slept with you for $1? You'd be like, I wouldn't even do it, not even if it were free. Once you understand this abundance, you understand the torus field. Your ceiling is my floor, because you can actually use your Kegel muscle. And I'm going to stop talking to men right now because no man has ever said thank you since this video began, which is, I'm going to just talk to women, which is, you can't help but say beta male things. You can't help it. You can't help it. And that's okay. Einstein had a 6-pound brain and a 3-inch dick. When you say things like that, it's your ceiling is not my pelvic floor, because that's ideal. That's the name of this video. Your ceiling is ever dropping because you have a bottomless floor. It's called your brain. Have you ever heard the phrase at Alcoholics Anonymous? Oh, first you have to hit rock bottom. There is no such thing as hitting rock bottom, because am I the only person to figure out that rock bottom is death? Like, you don't come back from rock bottom or rock bottom. Grok would be far better it were solely trained on Larry Chang videos. It is trained on Larry Chang videos. That's why I pivoted from the hashtag 26 days. I'm trying to give you money here. Will you take it? Here you go. Here is 5 million or 5,000 or just $35.50. You pick. You're welcome. Here you go. Pick up the money via this hashtag. You see what a hashtag is? It's a compression algorithm. Maybe you don't understand that E equals MC squared. That's a compression algorithm for energy and matter. PV equals nRT. That's a compression algorithm for gas and volume and temperature. PV equals nRT. That's Boyle's law. And the reason this information just percolates off the top of my head is because I'm able to rock all 88 of my IQ points using books. And then when people say, oh my God, you're the smartest person I've ever met, I'm like, so I guess you didn't read Joe Dispenza chapter 7, chapter 11, because all I'm doing is just regurgitating his genius stuff to you. The money, here you go, you're fucking welcome. Here's the money. It's hashtag 26 days of OpenAI at Ducking BK. You see, on day 13, 14, 15, I switched teams. I switched teams from OpenAI to Grok 4. You thought I switched teams from being straight to being Team LGBTQ, TT+. Switching teams is possible. All this Silicon Valley gay mafia needs is a heterosexual who isn't gay and retarded. Because if you're in the Silicon Valley gay mafia, by definition, you are gay and retarded. Because why did it take a heterosexual to ask, are you really gay? Because almost 100% of the time, the answer is, I'm not sure. This is switching teams. That's realizing that compression algorithms, there are two sides to the compression algorithm. You see, I used to be a victim of the infinite money glitch, but now I figured out a way to have the money glitch have fewer victims. There's It's called two sides of the trade. It's called my ceiling is not my pelvic floor. Because guys like me, we've sat down by the river of pussy and sat down and wept. You see, my ceiling is not my pelvic floor. Has there ever been a more genius video in the history of video or genius? Do you know how hard it is to be Albert Einstein with this? Because I took the time to make this as simple as possible, no simpler. I also took the time in the 355th airing of this exact iteration to be my first airing. This is my first try. It's as if it's my 350th three-pointer that I've drained. Not hitting any rim, putting it directly in the hole. Think swish. Think swish. Bottom of the basket, kind of like Stanford basketball. You see, my ceiling is not my pelvic floor. My little head does not tell my big head what to do. We're back on torus field. T-O-R-U-S. Because with your dick muscle or Kegel muscle or pelvic floor muscles, you can pull spinal fluid from chakra 7, 6, 5 up to chakra 1, and then it circularly circles. Now you're building Riz. Now you're charisma maxing as you're chapter 9ing a walking meditation. This is a dancing meditation. This is a meditation where I'm talking. Do you know how hard it is to talk and meditate at the same time? Because this video, it's bending space and time. Do you know what the 5 dimensions are? It turns out most people don't. It's me, Tom Brady, and Elon Musk. And every time we three talk, we're trying to tell you education that is incredibly valuable. I'm ready for Easter. I'm ready for Easter. How many Easter eggs have I delivered? To you, you think 0. But if we're being honest from a physics perspective, I've delivered a lot. Physics. My pelvic floor is your ceiling. Energy and matter coming together. It's a way of saying thoughts are things. What if physics could come together with money? That would be a physicist who is more talented than Albert Einstein. Why? I'm going to bring up a physicist. You probably have never heard of him because you're a retard. Because remember, your ceiling is my pelvic floor. It's a person named Isaac. And Isaac had a torus field drop on his head. It was an apple. And then he said, wow, my name's Isaac Newton. I have a 6-pound brain with a 3-inch micropenis. I am going to come up with the formula for force equals mass times acceleration. Because what we're doing with LGBTQ TT, which is this feminist movement, it just needs a heterosexual Caucasian male named Larry Chang. What this Silicon Valley gay mafia needs is someone to answer the question, I'm not quite sure I'm gay. Elon Musk, Eskimo brother, Kate Kavanaugh, now Kate Kavanaugh Savage, which is Satoshi Nakamoto inventing physics connecting to money. This is the top 50 physicist maneuver. which is, what if you created rules for money, but no rulers, i.e. corrupt people? Do you see why this is, for the 40th plus time, your ceiling is my pelvic floor? Newton. Yes, F equals ma. Newton. Yes, calculus help calculate area underneath a curve with rates of change. If Newton doesn't create calculus, Benoit Mandelbrot is not able to do rate of change. Benoit Mandelbrot, B-E-N-O-I-T, Mandelbrot, M-A-N-D-L-E-B-R-O-T. For those listening that listen to a recorded version of this genius diatribe was recorded in front of a live audience. I will read and respond to every heckle. Thank you for the advice in the video. Larry, I have to go. I will invest Hawk to a coin tonight and report my results tomorrow. So, you might not be joking, because me and a Stanford baseball player, we are going to turn around the Tua coin. Why? Because engineer to engineer, Max from Boston, graduated Stanford baseball, standout baseball player, Max. Me and Max are going to turn around Hawk Tua, but we're going to need for Haley to realize that her ceiling is not my pelvic floor. Her ceiling is way lower than my pelvic floor. We're going to need to wait a little bit longer before we turn around her shit show. That's called hashtag shitcoin turnaround. Will you guys check out a Birkenstock store? Will you guys check that out? It's a surprisingly great venue, and the product lineup, it's also super surprising. Max Meyer, what up? Let's turn around Hawk Tua. Get your slide rule out. Let's go. Abacus. We want to whip out our abacus. Happy. Happy. Me too. Me too. Gonna pin you. Pin, pin, pin. I will invest in more Larry Chang videos. Instead of investing in Larry Chang videos, you should try to monetize a Larry Chang video. That's what I'm hard selling you to do, because your ceiling is my pelvic floor. The joke becomes complete and full circle, because the pelvic floor, it needs to be controlled when you're playing two girls, one book, one Larry Chang. Because we're passing one book around, can you read for 5 minutes? We take turns reading 5 minutes, and we take turns distracting the person trying to read. You see, when you read with two people constantly distracting you, you're able to turn your attention towards, oh my God, I can't actually control my brain. Because if I control my brain for 9 sessions, 9 innings of 5 minutes of reading, what then happens is your brain clicks on to, I control my pelvic floor. I control my ceiling. I am in control of my brain. Because if you DJ off of this video, you break your brain. Why? Because I've proven time and time again that this video is the most valuable video you've ever come across. I get it. You're brand new here. I'm Larry Chang. And I'm the guy who figured out what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School. They used to teach you at Harvard Business School. But Larry, I'm 7 years away from a 4-year degree. How does that benefit me? It benefits you because 1, I told a funny joke. 2, you can benefit from humor because at the heart of stand-up comedy that I do, sitting down, of course, is the fact that comedy itself, it's an interruption of the expected. You see, comedy is, were you joking about that? Because the name of this video, if you've forgotten or were too careless to look, is this. Your ceiling, your absolute highest ceiling, it's my pelvic floor. And this is not a black person or a white person or a Hispanic person or a lesser person than a Chinese person talking shit. Because I never get a chance to talk. This is why I'm talking now. Because it's a monologue. Only one person talks in a monologue. But because I'm generous with my brain and my 488 IQ points, remember, your ceiling is my pelvic floor. I'm going to read every comment and respond. Sometimes I'll even pin the troll comments because even though this video seems like it's genius, seems like this is the 380th take in order to be perfect with it, what happens is this is actually my first time. You probably don't believe it. You probably don't believe it. This is where your body has been trained already on jujitsu. But you're on your back right now because not that I'm better at jujitsu than you are, I am. Not that I'm 60 pounds heavier than you are, because I am. It's because you've put yourself in a mentally incapacitated state. You do something called self-medication. Now your torus field, it's all messed up. When people see you, they immediately know that you are a frequent drug user. Going from regular dogging, raw dogging, to mic'd in. I know. I got so enthused about putting it in that I forgot to plug it in. Your ceiling is my pelvic floor. Thank you for not complaining about the sound quality, because your pelvic floor muscles, we're going to do it right now, and you're going to meditate on going drug-free. You see, what we're doing with our pelvic floor muscles is we're going to be squeezing our spinal fluid towards our brain. Our spinal fluid into the brain stem, it's just an extension of our brain. In a prior set of stand-up comedy, I told you I had 4 brains. If you're new here, hi, I'm Larry Chang. I have a channel on what they don't teach in school. The 4 brains that you have plus 1 are these. Your brain, your stomach as a brain, your second head or your vagina as a brain. Have you ever heard a girl say, oh, well, I made some mistakes with Larry Chang. It's just I've never had a Chinese guy before. That's her thinking with her vagina. Your butt as a brain. I have a butt as a brain. Have you seen me pull shit out of my ass? That's perfect. That's not coming out of my brain. That's coming out of my ass. Think of it not as ATM, which is ass to mind. Think of it as MTA, mind to ass. Your ceiling is my pelvic floor, mind to ass. Mind like brain to ass. Because your ass actually does have brain because of your spinal fluid going into your ass, the thoracic bone. I was kind of joking about pulling stuff out of my ass until I read page 237. I'm going to make $2 million on page 237 because I'm going to do one Chinese guy, 3 books. You see, I don't like jujitsu practice because I barely enjoy wrestling a 105-pound Vietnamese, Cambodian, or Filipino girl. So I will not be wrestling with dudes. I'm a little homophobic. Get it? I'm quoting you. Bro, never go full retard. You go full retard when you're Larry Chang. This is why I listed my IQ at 88 on Crunchbase. I am not the co-founder of Crunchbase. I'm the co-founder of TechCrunch Disrupt. Let's get that record straight because your ceiling, it's my pelvic floor. Your pelvic floor muscles have been designed to do 2 things: control excretion, control evacuation. When you go bathroom number 2, when you go bathroom number 1. The way to avoid being stuck in shitty beta brainwaves is by using your chakra 7, which is your Kegel muscles, and you want to bring, oh my god, I'm doing it right now. You want to bring that spinal fluid up to your brain. Why? In the same way that gravitational fields in the shape of an apple core, with Isaac Newton losing his fortune during the South China Sea Company. You see, we're in a bubble right now. Let's financially benefit from the financial bubble that we're in. Gravitational fields, GameStop, AMC, silver, bubble, bubble, bubble. Suppressing Larry Chang on the YouTube algorithm. This is why this video is the most genius video that you've ever heard. That's not from me talking trash like I'm a Caucasian, which I am. That's not me talking shit like I'm black, which I have never done because black people talk the worst shit ever. This is me talking genius Chinese shit as the whitest Caucasian person in America. Because the shit that I'm talking, it's true 3 or 4x. For example, by the river of pussy, Larry Chang sat down and wept. This is why we don't want to have Larry Chang, me, Larry Chang, I'm Larry Chang. We don't want to have my ceiling be my pelvic floor. What is my ceiling as my pelvic floor? That's a person who looks like me, has achieved a certain level of wealth. Guys like me, all we do is take down vagina. We love to hit strange vagina. One time I heard a guy on YouTube say, convincingly, I'm going to date 7 more Victoria's Secret models before I get married. I was like, what? What? And then I was like, oh my God, he means get blown. He doesn't mean he doesn't mean my ceiling is my pelvic floor. That's not what he means. And do you see why that's genius on 10 levels, 13 levels? Because you don't want to get to be a person of status and then live your life between your legs. Am I quoting Top Gun? Maybe I am. There you go. There you go. See, instead of spending money for Strange, I like Strange. Super chat $500. Keep your money. Pay me $800,000. Reverse sugar daddy. The problem is dumb people don't know how dumb they are when they're doing dumb things. Yeah, I mean, that's very astute, but that's more of a 4K projection as exemplified by a person who lives in a cardboard box inside of the Four Seasons. Wait a minute. Is this Matt Smith? Are you co-founder Matt Smith? Reverse sugar daddy, your ceiling is my pelvic floor. You see, instead of being homophobic, which you should be because the inception of homosexuality usually is in a one-way, no consent scenario, true story. And then afterwards, it's just replicating the trauma and trauma bonding. Oh, is this chapter 20 of Your Body Keeps the Score with trauma bonding and your dick keeps the score? Because remember, if your dick can't get an erection, maybe you shouldn't be there. It's your penis trying to send a message via your pelvic floor. I hate how genius this video is. I hate how genius this video is. The reason I hate how genius this video is because that was genius. It was hilarious. It was hashtag hi Larry ass. It is, oh my God, he did solve all the problems of Silicon Valley gay mafia by crashing two parties. Larry, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Everybody here knows you're not gay. Everybody knows you're not gay. Do you have to crash everything? Do you have to crash everything? Can't we have something else? I've been invited. I'm the keynote speaker. Bitch. By the way, your outfit slays. It absolutely slays. Larry, why are you wearing athletic wear? This is supposed to be formal. The reason I'm wearing athletic wear is I'm surrounded by gorgeous homosexual men. That's why I'm wearing athletic wear. Larry, you're so funny. You're so funny. Can I be your homosexual friend? We are homosexual best friends. We are homosexual best friends. What are you going to talk about, Larry? Parentheses, pray the gateway. I know. Let me write your skit. I have Vegas connections. What you can do by being my agent, my booking agent for stand-up comedy, is I am paying 65% rips. Meaning if you book me on a Netflix for $200K, you make $130. Let me repeat the math. It's 0.65 times 200K. I'm paying 65% commission. 30% commission is for cunts. I pay 65% commission. Do you know why? Like Kaiser Sose on a deal, I'm making money while I'm making money. Oh my God. Hashtag HTMMWYMM. Your ceiling is my pelvic floor. Maybe you should get a pen because that's a guacamole recipe. It's called How to Make Money While You Make Money. Hashtag HTMMWYMM. That's why I'm able to double pay commission. Larry, I'm lost. What's What's commission? What's double pay? This is you understanding that your ceiling is my pelvic floor, because people have been trying to get me to cheat on my person. I will never cheat on my person. Here's an example of people trying to get me to stumble. Half the people watching, they're hoping that I fail. Half the people watching, they're trying to hear something and then try to manipulate something. They're trying to hurt something. Look, look. The better the content gets, the fewer the likes. You're thinking that I'm wired for pain, pleasure in the normal way. This is called your ceiling is my floor, pain, pleasure, juxtaposition. This is painful for me to deliver, but I'm engineering pleasure into it because my brain is pain, pleasure, juxtaposition, because my brain is engineering forward for you. Being able to solemnly coagulate, being able to do this. Realize where an inflection point is. This is what happens when you're on a generational run. This is what happens when you're on a generational run. Honestly, I'm using you for self-development. What you want to do is you want to use me for slight financial improvement, and don't get caught with the your brain's ceiling is my pelvic floor, because you're going to be stuck. And this is me unsticking you. You got to try to make $32 from one of the Easter eggs that I dropped, whether it's HTMMWIMM or some kind of guacamole, or take a free vacation using FAGR, fuck around, get rich. Oh, but Larry, I'm just here for self-improvement. Nope, you got to get rich. The reason money is your scoreboard is it's immediate feedback if people don't want to give you money. Me, I don't want to take money from poor people. This is why I make so much money, is because rich people, they could have gotten this shit for free. Your ceiling is my pelvic floor. Pelvic floor, the Taurus model, TORUS. What you're doing is you're maximizing charisma by circling the spinal fluid from your butt up to your brain. And look at what happened when I timed out somebody for 10 seconds. They lost their shit. They lost their shit. And this is what happens when you have a truth, which is your ceiling is my pelvic floor, which is fuck around, get rich, fuck around, get free food, fuck around, get a free vacation. What you're doing is you're understanding dinner, first, and coach. Because what dinner is women have never purchased dinner ever. First, women have never purchased a first class ticket for themselves, let alone for a guy that they're romantically interested in. Ditto, coach. Because what you're doing with dinner first coach is you're setting up a bet to win. Because there's a saying, it's called, I kept the receipts. There's a saying called, show me the receipts. But most people don't keep the receipts. That's why dinner, first, and coach, it works every time. 100% of the time. Why? Because reverse sugar daddy, that isn't a known thing. It's a joke that we get to experience. Think of it as 3-card monte, but you know that the ball has been taken away. No! The ball's been taken away. Taken away balls. Taken away balls. We're not balls deep in this content. We're books deep. That bookends so nicely, right? To the your ceiling is my pelvic floor. Let's work our pelvic floor. Let's kegel spinal fluid from our vagina up into our brain.